welcome back to the Messed Up Movies Podcast, the podcast celebrating movies and filmmakers that embrace the insane, the outrageous, the unhinged, the off-kilter, and the all-around kind of messed up fun you can't take your eyes off of. What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Griffey, joined as always by my friend, co-host, and drunken Asian murderer.
Whoa, Dandino. Griff, let me ask you a question.
That's gonna
Do
sound
you go
so
on
weird.
overnight
People
benders?
Don't know what movie this is. Oh, you know I go on overnight benders, Alex. That's right.
Well, Griff, when you wake up in the morning, let me ask you another question. Do you hop on Patreon and make sure you subscribe to our Messed Up Movies Patreon? Because I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of cool stuff we got
That's the
over
good deed I do, is I wipe the blood of foreign lands off of my boots.
For a single $1 a month. I'm not sure what that translates into. Shit, I do not know the national currency of Korea. Oh, well. Either way. Whatever that translates to. For a single $1 a month, single US dollar a month, you have access to our Discord, which is a lot of fun. You have access to all the exclusive stuff we do, like the Black Mirror Pod, Tales from the Griff. We're almost done with Tales from the Griff. We got to do these movies. We have 2 more seasons, I think. And all the other great exclusive episodes we have every single month. That's also all the stuff we have backlogged from years of film alchemisting. Trust me, it is a lot.
Yeah, so $1 US would be something like a couple thousand South Korean won.
Won. Was it won?
WON, won.
Sure. Okay, great.
Anywho,
we're very cultural
the
here.
Patreon would be great. Yeah, we're branching out worldwide. Actually, weirdly enough, one time we did chart in South Korea. We did
chart in South Korea.
So we're back, baby! To all our South Korean people, we're back.
Love you.
You might not like this episode. So yeah, guys, make sure you go to YouTube, subscribe to Misfit Parade there to see video versions of the pods, other stuff we're working on. Make sure you find us on all the socials, shorts, reels, TikToks, Instagrams, all that stuff. Great way to let people know what we're working on. If you guys could reach out to a movie-loving friend, send them one of those things. Send them an episode. That would mean the world to us. Go to MisfitParade.com. Subscribe to the newsletter there. You can stay abreast of everything we're doing on Mr. Cream Jean's Hidey Hole, our first movie that we are fighting tooth and nail to finish, guys. We're working hard. We could use your help over there. I think that's it. 5-star ratings and reviews, guys. Spotify, Apple, iTunes, whatever the fuck, podcast. All that stuff does help out a lot. It's free, easy, some kind words, and some stars. All right. Colossal, right? We're doing our April Fool's and April twist of, things that aren't exactly what you think they are.
Twist,
and then they pull a twist on you. Like,
twist.
Here we are in a different movie. Colossal feels like it's a classic woman behaving badly breakup movie, right?
Sure,
like things are okay. Yep. Mm-hmm. She's a hard drinking lass. She gets broken up with by Dan Stevens. She's got to go home.
To be fair, I'd be hard drinking.
It's very Hallmark movie, right?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden, we introduce the weirdest pairing maybe in a movie I can think of. Kaijus, right? So the synopsis of this movie. Gloria is an out-of-work party girl forced to leave her life in New York City and move back home. When reports surface that a giant creature is destroying Seoul, South Korea, she gradually comes to the realization that she is somehow connected to this phenomenon.
Yes.
Alex, would you like to hit us up with the basic deets
Absolutely. Colossal is a 2016 science fiction black comedy, of course. Written and directed by Nacho Vigalondo. The idea is it's Godzilla meets Lost in Translation. That's how Anne Hathaway described it. She was the first actress to sign on when there had no financial backing. She just read the spec script.
Okay.
And she was like, I'm doing this one. Along with her, besides, of course, Dan Stevens, there's Jason Sudeikis as probably the main other fella in the film. Austin Stoll as this dude Joel. And then one of my all-time favorite character actors, Tim Blake Nelson, as Garth. Again, it's a great cast. And, I mean, it's a fascinating idea. Like, I remember watching the trailer for this and being like, well, this seems like a movie that was pretty much made for not just Griffey and I, but for me particularly. I'm like, well, these are all the things I like, plus all the things other people like about movies. These guys, before the movie went into production, they got sued by Toho because they had described something as Godzilla, and Toho's like, not cool, bro.
Yeah.
They sued Voltage.
Hey, welcome to the Monster Club, man.
They sued Voltage Pictures for unauthorized usage of Godzilla's image. It was pretty fascinating.
But they didn't use it. Anywho,
they did an early promo work.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, it's one of those weird, a lot of times when you're doing these kind of indie emotional dramedies, that's a really hard kind of film to market, right? Most people, I feel like those kind of movies when they stumble across them. Mm-hmm. There are not a ton of those movies, I think, that really feel like they break out big. We're all like, we got to watch that,
No, this is a good,
like
this
something
is
like
an
A Real
afternoon.
Pain this year started getting some, like, awards buzz. That'll pop. But this one about, like, a breakup and a lot, it's one of those, it's so specific to certain storytellers' era. It doesn't have that, like, catch-all effect that sci-fi and horror and this and that do. So you throw in a giant monster, and all of a sudden now someone like me who would never have wanted to watch this movie, now I'm kind of interested. I do want to ask you, this is the weirdest. There are a lot of these kind of, safety not guaranteed, right? There are a lot of these kind of little indie dramedies that layer some genre on to try to reach a larger audience. Mm-hmm. This might be the weirdest pairing of that kind of a movie, and I'm not sure the metaphor works very well in the movie.
I was going to ask you about that, because to me, I think the metaphor is there, very obviously. I also think the metaphor is so overstated so quickly that you spin and maybe this is a trick of the script too, and I don't know, but I feel like the metaphor is so just like in your face, like right there where my hand is, in your face, that essentially what you do is you start looking for deeper meaning with the metaphor. I don't know. It's very curious.
Well, here's the problem, right? So the scenes with like just Anne Hathaway, Sudeikis, like them in the bar, there's a lot of great drama and stuff happening. Again, the thing that I didn't want ended up being the stuff I liked in the movie. The thing I wanted, I'm not going to lie, it hurts this movie pretty dramatically. Because right off the bat, you're talking about this, a little boy, Jason Sudeikis, smashes a girl's shitty fucking first grade project, second grade project in Seoul. And that act causes lightning to strike her. And for the two of them to somehow become unlicensed recreations of action figures that kill hundreds of Koreans. Like, what did the people of Seoul, South Korea, do to just fucking be murdered by these drunken white assholes? Like, that's the point of the movie. I had forgotten how they just kind of cavalierly throw out, like, tons. Like, when she falls down drunk in the park trying to show them that she's the monster, hundreds of people die. All these buildings get fucked up. Think of the societal-wide trauma of this 9/11-like event. Yeah. It's insane. At the core of this movie, the more it gets into it, and then you start getting into the Jason Sudeikis wants to kill these people, there's a bit of this where I was like, now you're taking the I'm a drunken monster destroying things around me, and you're putting real, like the scene at the end when that little Korean boy's like, ah, like he's about to get, I was like, you're putting a real human child face on the cost of being a drunken idiot. That is not who should be paying the tab in this movie.
I mean, I think that it,
it's kind of fucking stupid, to be honest.
I don't think it's stupid. I think the problem is just, I think it's in, let's see, this came out, so it was made in 2016, this came out in 2017. It's around the same time. I feel like this is around the same time when we all started watching, like, the superhero movies where, like, cities were being leveled, and you're like,
right.
The death toll here is not great.
I remember this cropped up a lot around the
Man of Steel.
Man of Steel, right?
Man of
Where
Steel.
It's like, dude, how many people fucking died in Metropolis before Superman's just decided to kill someone?
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, there's like a catastrophe porn element to it.
Yeah.
I think the stakes of a superhero movie.
Well, hang on. I'm not saying that that's the same. What I'm saying is I think that Anne Hathaway, when she realizes what's going on, doesn't want to trivialize. Like, she's trying not to trivialize it. I think that's sort of like, and again, it's really ham-fisted, but this is also towards the end of the movie. Like, the initial premise works very well. Like, it's a
very intriguing idea at the start, for sure.
Like, I'd say for about 40 minutes, I'd say 40 to 50 minutes of this movie, the basic premise works really well because you're like, oh, like, we're not, it's when she falls down after drunkenly proving that she's the kaiju in Seoul. It's when she falls down that you're like, okay, this just took a dramatic turn into another movie, and like the other part of this isn't great. And like,
there's a part of that though where you're like, okay, we're putting actual, again, they're working the metaphor of the drunken monster self, right?
Yeah.
And that being an accident and her being traumatized by it, that part I think is interesting. Like, okay, I see how they're using this.
Sure.
The weirdest thing is they add in Sudeikis also turns into a giant robot.
Yeah.
And immediately goes from what seems like a pretty nice guy, right, to I will slaughter thousands of Koreans if you don't just hang around. And again, I get by the end of the movie, they're unfurling, like he does this, like he brings you in close, traps you. He's been stalking her for years, it feels like. Mm-hmm. I get the like unfurling. I was like, there's a huge difference between I want you to stay here and be my girlfriend and I will slaughter Koreans by the hundreds.
Again, like
his turn is a little corny to me in the movie.
This is the part of the script that, like, this is, again, we'll get to this, but like for me, the ending is the mess. Like the ending, like really unravels the entire
finale
movie.
Of this movie completely unraveled.
Like it sucks because like I really like until the point of like the ending becoming the ending. I was really engaged this time.
Yeah,
I remember seeing this.
It's a captivating drama for sure.
I remember seeing this in the theater, and being like, "This is a really fun movie to watch." Like,
yeah, and to be fair, Sudeikis' character turn is corny. He's fucking great in this movie. Again, I love the actors in this movie.
Jason Sudeikis is a. I don't think he's a great.
To me, this
heel.
was the first like post SNL thing. We're like, oh, this guy's got other levels. He's gonna.
He's got a great heel turn to him. Like I think that like Jason Sudeikis. He lives in that sweet spot, and I really am jealous of guys like this, where you're handsome enough to be funny, but then also handsome enough to also be a dick. Like, you're like, God, dude, you could just...
Well, he's like the handsome, like, reachable handsome, but super charming guy, who you're like, oh, I understand how people get caught in these toxic relationships.
It's like right on the edge of, like, again, he's so good at riding that razor's edge of, like, I'm like, just... prophetic and profane at the same time.
Oh yeah,
damn dude, like this is a guy who
incredible.
So yeah, like it's a little corny, like the heel turn itself, but then when he really like settles into this like bad guy, this villain role, man, what a performance! Like
performance great, story stupid. That's how I would say a lot of this movie is for me.
I think that
again, to get back to the point though, I want you to like this fucking drunken kaiju metaphor.
Look. If we're going to look, I can't justify the murder of, hundreds of Koreans.
We charted there. We're very pro South Korea.
I'm very pro South Korea.
Not like we're like, oh, we didn't chart in, Spain, so we want kaijus to appear.
I mean, I'm super anti North Korea. Very anti North Korea.
The people. I don't want
the people though.
Not the villagers to get crushed.
Not a big fan of the totalitarian regime there, but big.
Yeah, if a Colossal appeared right there on top of his little fat tower, go for it, dude. That's great. Again, I think it's a movie that by trying to bring us in with the genre stuff, I feel like the genre stuff is so underbaked in this.
I think because it's an indie drama. It starts as an indie drama. The movie is functioning in this indie drama world. So when you start introducing other genre elements like this, like the mix is less. It's like oil and water. Like
it's not just peanut butter and jelly. It's like peanut butter and peas. You're like, it might still be okay.
I wonder if it. Yeah, like peanut butter and peas is a good way to put it. Like peanut butter and peas. If you needed food,
still edible. Probably not offensively bad together, but you're also like, why?
But you're just like, why'd I do that? Like, that was a weird choice of mine.
So let's go into the mechanics of this a little bit, right? Essentially, because of this childhood trauma, the universe decides to strike Anne Hathaway in the head with a lightning bolt. Mm-hmm. Again, in one of the absolute lamest reveals in a movie, maybe ever, right? Like, again, I think all the sci-fi, what is fascinating to me, and maybe this is the thing with me, because I felt a little bit like that in 10 Cloverfield Lane, when at the end we see the spaceships and shit, and I was like, all right. Yeah. Movie's over, why? This one, to a more dramatic effect, the sci-fi stuff is just so unexamined and dumb, right? So so besides this like childhood thing, she appears as the kaiju. 25 years earlier. These are action figures in her backpack. And when they reveal this, like, 3/4 of the way through the movie, I was like, they just keep doing things because they want this kaiju thing that are so egregiously dumb. Because here's the thing. So some company made those 2 action figures. When this hits the news, do you think they're not at, like, the Monster Guy Corporation being like, hey, why are your 2 action figures fighting over Seoul, killing all these Koreans?
Hang on. This is the problem. Because I think this is the issue I have with the script, especially, this is the issue I have with the ending. The ending is under the movie becomes, for some reason, becomes under the impression that we need to be explained what's going on. It's okay, in metaphorical terms, it's okay not to tell us every little moment and why a kaiju shows up because she's there.
This is a lot of the more you shine light on it,
I understand the metaphor. Well, and I think this is the other part too, is for a movie that's, it's a $15 million indie, probably most of it goes to graphics, but for a movie that is, for a movie that's supposed to be like a black comedy and sort of a low budget, indie thing, it's weird that a movie feels that it needs to explain to me the metaphor. I'm like, I understand the metaphor for alcoholism. I don't need...
Yeah, and it's one of those outside of the trailer, the monsters and kaijus don't add anything narratively to the story. It adds a thing that there's kaiju, so people like me will watch a movie we might otherwise skip, and it becomes this odd serial killer weapon for Jason Sudeikis.
I think the thing is the metaphor itself works, but I think like you said, it could be any other thing. It could have been she blacks out and becomes a witch, or any other thing.
A Sasquatch, a vampire. There's literally no merit to the kaiju elements of the movie.
There's just...
that childhood reveal in microcosm is the problem of the movie.
Absolutely.
A scene of drama that's mildly interesting, right? A kid thinks this other kid is her friend, and she sees him betray her. Okay. Ooh, a lightning bolt. South Korea. What does this have to do with anything?
I think that's the problem too. Is you're just okay, so because she had a homemade model of Seoul, South Korea,
because she spent 25 minutes gluing fucking toilet paper rolls.
Therefore, her kaiju is linked forever. I'm also, if that's the case, does that mean that Jason Sudeikis' diorama is of the city, and that's why her kaiju can show up there when she's in Seoul? I'm there's not enough.
If that's the case, I'm making dioramas of the Tesla headquarters and the Kremlin right now and taking massive dumps on them. And
Absolutely.
Seeing how that appears.
If that's how that works, I'm going to go outside. I'm going to sit there with a map, a schematic of the Tesla headquarters, and let a lightning bolt strike my head, and I'm going to do
exactly.
This.
I got 20 minutes, a pot of coffee, and a pack of smokes. I'm going to make it rain on these evildoers and right some wrongs.
That's the problem, though, is the mechanics of how the monsters become the monsters and how they interact with the world are so overly explained.
And again, why the playground? That's not where the initial attack happens. It happens in the woods. How does her going to Seoul send her monster back? It's just one of those, you're like, guys, you're trying so much to make this part of the movie matter.
It's
and
that,
it just
and
doesn't.
It doesn't. I don't need the explanation. Again, I go back to this. This movie feels like it owes us an explanation for 10 things it does. And I'm like, guys, you could have just left it on the cutting room floor. I'm like, I get it. It's cool. Thank you.
Well,
that's
again,
the one you
did
give.
This Lost Weekend style where she just can't stop getting drunk. And when she turns drunk, a monster randomly appears somewhere in the world. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Fine.
I don't need the hyper specific rules. And again, the Sudeikis thing is so fucking lame. I don't need that either, right? I get it. It's this alcoholism metaphor, blah, blah. Fine.
Well, okay,
just,
to your
just
point,
have it appear. Don't make it
Wouldn't have been better? To your point, it would have been a better werewolf comedy. It would have been better if they both turned into fucking werewolves or something like that. Or anything.
Right, and she starts maiming people who are personally close to her. She doesn't want to... Because again, what we're doing is we're... Halfway through the movie, she kills hundreds of Koreans and destroys all these buildings by being a drunken asshole.
Yeah.
We kind of show that she doesn't want to do that as much. And then we take the onus off of her and make Jason Sudeikis a cartoonish madman.
Well,
who's now
because
like,
she
my
starts-
life is finally bigger and better and more interesting than yours. And you're like, whoa, first off, 3 idiots. No, that's not how this works.
Yeah. But like,
why does this, what?
She also is like growing as a person. So like halfway through the movie, she's like, I'm not going to get drunk. I haven't been drunk since Sunday. Like, that's very cool. Like, that's a very good, like, that's how the metaphor becomes a metaphor, is like, oh, this whole thing is a result of her being a drunk asshole. So like her not being drunk and her being, oh, I need to keep my wits about me. Like, again, it works.
But then she has to show up as the monster she only is when she's drunk, sober, to defend Seoul. Again, it's one of those, I understand the marketing decision. I would have, it's so bizarre the turnabout this movie did to me. Where me, the kaiju loving movie fan I am, I was just like, stop.
Okay, like the first confrontation they have where she slaps him, the day after, like the fake news reports drove me nuts because it seems this monster might be the hero. I'm like, Jesus Christ, guys, I know how these work. You do not need to explain to me or the rest of the people that slapping the bad guy robot means he might be a good guy. Like,
well, also, it's like, there's this
on.
weird, like, at the start, just like this monster appeared 25 years ago. And all these Koreans saw it, but they only had, like, a couple pictures, so people thought it was a hoax. And I was like, guys, they didn't have drone technology back then. Like, no one, like, this would have been a huge deal, because when the first one happens, the news coverage treats it like a 9/11 style event, is what it conjured in my mind. Yeah. People are calling each other. Have you seen the news? Where did these things come from? We saw this 25 years ago, blah, 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 blah. All right. Like, this, it can't matter that much and be treated so flippantly, I think, is the point. Before we just keep belaboring the mechanics of this world, right? And I don't even want to dignify the ending with a response.
The reason we belabor this is because the stuff that is human in this movie is so good. Like, the scenes of them just, like, interacting, like, they're playing off each other perfectly. And, like, when the 4 of them are in the bar just, like, hanging out, great stuff. That scene where he basically forces her to drink, or he'll go to the playground, like, stuff like that. That's the thing that, like, that ropes you into the movie. And that's how you know the movie is, like, doing a good job, because you really don't care about seeing any more monster stuff. You want the movie to just be about
you want to be
people
sitting at that table as he's like, well, it doesn't work without the story. Fine, fucking do the story quick. Do the magic trick. And he does the little asterisk. Like, those are those, like, dream indie scenes that when you're an indie writer and filmmaker, you're like, God, if I can make stuff like that captivating, I can level the playing field and make a feature film that doesn't cost $15 million. But you have to have a certain level of cast and screenwriting capabilities. And this movie's crushing it. Like, imagine the scene with the firework, right? Where Sudeikis is doing his... it's such a fucking powerhouse monologue where he's still kind of keeping his cool. He's bringing out this big fire. I've done the most irresponsible thing I could do in this bar. I could get in a big old fucking fist fight with you. I could do this. I could do that. This firework, right? I don't even know how they got it through customs. And he lights it off in the building. Mm-hmm. And Dan Stevens like, let's go. And he's like, she's not going with you. And she doesn't for some reason.
Like,
but it's like those scenes are so fucking captivating. Even the scene when she confronts him in, like, his sad hoarder house.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm so ashamed. Did I hurt you? Because this movie also gets really comfortable really fast with him
hitting women. Not
beating
cool.
the shit out of her.
Not cool.
I'm sorry. I guess they're saying because Anne Hathaway is not smart enough to go just buy a taser, that she's got it coming because she puts her dukes up. You're like, this is the thing in the movie I was not expecting to have to grapple with.
Yeah.
Bizarre choice in the film.
Okay, but hang on. Let's stay on this real quick. Because you're like, because I was like, whoa, I completely forgot that he, like, literally fucking punches her in the face.
I had forgotten about the full Family Guy style throwdowns they were about to embark upon.
So, like, this whole, like, when they're on the playground and he, like, straight up they, like, hit each other, I had forgotten all about that. And
the end of the movie, her fucking face is all beat up.
I agree, though. And, like, I think this is the thing, and I don't know if this is just another trick of the movie or they're trying to I was very uncomfortable during that scene and after, with the whole like these two trading hits. I'm like, this isn't like a murderer chasing this isn't the Ghostface chasing Nev Campbell through a campus or anything like that. This is literally two adults, a man and a woman, just hitting each other. I'm like, this is straight up domestic abuse. Like, this is an uncomfortable situation.
And I might be called out for being a little old timey in my thoughts, but it's just like there's just something about it.
Listen,
like seeing a lady square up on a man.
I do not like watching anybody hit women. Sorry.
Like, it looks wrong. Like watching him square up.
Call me old fashioned.
And her square up.
I don't give a shit.
And you're just like, dude, she could never fucking he's gonna beat the dog shit out of her.
Like, that's not okay.
As much as she wants, as he wants, I was just like, oh god, I'm very uncomfortable with this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've seen some of this in real life and don't like. I used to be a bar bouncer, right? Mm-hmm. And grew up in places where this happened, man. Like it's something I get a visceral reaction to. I hate. And again, it's like he's gonna fucking stomp her as soon as he wants. And then they add in the extra thing I can't stand, which is the guy she just fucked is just watching. Dude. And not fucking tackling this guy or doing anything, but then comes to her house after and apologizes, and she pretends that he has this is something I had written in the notes. I wanted to get to this. The other thing I think is fat, because I think this movie has a great drama at its core, a great cast, some sci-fi elements that could have been fun but just are underbaked. This movie makes a very bold decision that almost every character in this movie is ultra fucking hateable. But you don't really care for the welfare of it. And this is the other thing. You cast Anne Hathaway, who might be about as divisive an actress as we have. I personally just, every time I see her, I'm like, ugh. There's something about her I just can't fucking stand. And I hate her guts. Like, I think she's probably a really shitty person. This is such a weird thing to put on the internet. She just gives off bad vibes, and you've heard a lot of stories about her not being cool to people. So for her to be at the center of this movie of all these horrible fucking characters with their horrible fucking choices that kill all these Koreans, I was like, this movie's really like a maelstrom of hard to fucking digest elements. She's a great actress. There's just something, it's like that scene in Step Brothers. It's like, there's just something about your face. Like, I'll work on it. No, you can't. It's your face.
I mean, she's made a lot of very specific decisions.
Yeah.
And I agree.
I don't think she's a well-liked human being.
I think it's really fascinating because like it's funny because I was actually just watching that show she did with Jared Leto, the WeWork thing. Mm-hmm. And like everybody hates Rebecca Newman, like to her core. She's the perfect casting for that because of this exact weird. And again, I don't know enough about Anne Hathaway to know anything.
I've never met her. She might be swell to hang out with.
She might be the sweetest person.
She'd be great. Maybe she was young and now she's like learned. That's great.
I do know her public persona is weirdly like people don't like her. I don't know why because I don't know her at all. But I know that like her whole thing is like there's a public perception that she's weirdly hateable. I don't know.
Yeah, and again, I could be totally like buying into some bullshit. Maybe she's great. I don't know.
And I don't know when that happened because I don't know if it's Colossal when that occurred. But like,
no, I think it was before that.
Was it Interstellar? Like, or like maybe it was? Oh, you know what was it after Les Mis? It was probably after Les Mis.
Les Mis. We didn't turn on Russell Crowe. We liked him more. He was getting fatter.
Fuck that guy. No,
he was literally beating people up around the world, and we still were like, well, he's Russell Crowe. That's cool.
I hated Russell Crowe.
I don't know when it is I started hating Anne Hathaway. There was just a certain point that I saw her, and I was like, I
do think, okay, so, because I thought about that when I was watching this yesterday, because I agree. Like, Tim Blake Nelson playing the lovable drug addict is probably about as far as I'm willing to go.
He's the nicest one because I was like, I get that. You just like doing drugs and you get older and you're like, man, I made a lot of bad choices. But all I have left is the drugs. It's like, you can't even really blame him. You're like, all right, I can follow that journey.
I think that Anne Hathaway's, the public perception of Anne Hathaway's like hateability, if she has that, again, I don't know. But that public perception, I think, does filter in a little bit. So her acting badly and then trying not to, it's strange because in the realm of like Gloria the character, it feels genuine. And then you're watching Anne Hathaway, you're like, this is so fake. She's so full of shit. And you're like, wait, she's acting. Of course she's full of shit.
But I mean, it adds this extra layer of like, you fucking ass. Like when she comes in lying in the morning, we don't know what she did the night before. We immediately are just like, Dan Stevens hates her. I hate her. I'm with him, right? And then he leaves all mad. He's like, I packed your bag. And her friends are just waiting to run into the damn apartment. So yeah, the fact that her friends are just there ready to ambush the door, you're like, immediately you've set up, I hate this woman's guts. And she's always falling out drunk before she can find a place to sleep. Like, that's insane. I have been as drunk can be. I always find a fucking place to lay down and curl up. This is crazy. I don't know. There's something about it. And then again, the other guy who you think we're going to like, the cute guy, he lets her get beat up after she has sex with him. Jason Sudeikis' Oscar seems like a pretty cool guy, like a small town, like a Hallmark, like a small town guy who's just been waiting on the chance to be seen. He literally becomes a genocidal fucking maniac who beats the shit out of Anne Hathaway multiple times. And then at the end of the movie, they're even like, oh, Anne Hathaway's like, hey, you want a drink? She's like, Like, yeah, she's taking that drink. She's not done drinking. I don't think she's actually grown up enough to think she's done drinking. Because now she took the drunken monster metaphor, used it to murder a man, and is empowered. Okay. So and even Dan Stevens sucks by the end.
She like, kills she kills Jason Sudeikis. Like, also, by the way, like, horrifyingly. Like, his body landed somewhere, and you're like, Jesus
Again,
Christ.
In a very bizarre, like, we don't still understand the rules. Like, she really see... Like, Sudeikis couldn't dodge her hand. She can't physically see him. She can't hear him calling her bitch. And so, yes, the timing of it's kind of annoying. And she throws that robot. I was like, I hope it has time to turn back into a cloud before you've just killed an entire mountain village of more Koreans. Like, that's a huge-ass robot that's going to kill anything it lands on.
Well, to be fair, you do see it turn into a cloud before it lands. So I'm like, okay, cool.
Do you? Because
like,
I saw it, like, shoot into the dark. I didn't know about the cloud.
I watched very specifically.
Because I figured when he left the playground, that process would start.
No, I watched it really specifically. I'm like, that thing, otherwise she's like murdered an entire civilization somewhere. It turns it dissipates into a cloud. I agree. Like, here's the problem with the ending, though. Well, beyond the other problems that the ending has. I do have an issue with, she goes into the bar, she's like, do you want to hear a really amazing story? I'm like, end the movie here. End the movie here. Like, let her tell the story. Like, that's her, like, saying, like, I'm going to just tell stories. Like, I've had all my drunken nights. Now I have all the stories I need. And then when like, do you want a drink? I'm like, God damn it. Like,
also, take that drink because you're about to be in a government facility the rest of your life.
This is literally the last time you'll be drinking anything.
Nowhere on planet Earth has more cameras trained at it than this town square and riverfront. And she's out there by herself walking up like she's fucking Superman ready to confront Zod. I was like, this white lady in the fucking trench coat would be on 85 to 100 high-definition cameras rotating its hand and using Jedi mind tricks to fucking destroy the robot. That lady's getting dissected in a government lab. Like, Gloria's life is over if we're being 100% clear. She's not leaving Korea ever.
But the problem is that she sits down, they offer her a drink, and she just lets out this sigh. And you know she'll be like, yeah. And I'm like, that is the antithesis of learning anything in this movie. Like, the entire
because she doesn't say like we're leaving it to where she could say no. But we know Gloria. She's not a good person. She's not reformed. At the end, like, her moment of clarity is she tells Dan Stevens, she's like, you thought you were leaving me because I was too much of a mess. Well, brother, I'm more messed up than ever. And I was like, nope, that's the wrong. You're gleaning bad lessons. You're gleaning
bad lesson to glean from Gloria, this experience.
No!
Gloria, no, terrible lesson. No.
Yeah. I also agree Sudeikis could get run over or hit by an asteroid. This is not the way. Again, and I think this is the thing. This conversation is undercutting the amount of stuff I liked in this movie. Like, I think it's a solid 3 out of 5 movie.
It's an extremely promising fun movie. For like 50 minutes, it's a really promising indie premise. And like, it works really well for a while. Until like serious things start happening. And this is like, again, like, this is a month of twists. I think what's interesting is like,
this movie has like one big twist,
right? But
and then like this other one.
The thematic turn in this movie is so it's not even like a dramatic thing. Like, it's just so the thematic turn in the film happens so intensely, and it becomes a different movie altogether, that like the sinister nature of everyone comes out, and you're like, I think we should have stuck to her dancing in the harbor. I'll be honest. Like, anything that was not going to be like when she writes the apology as the kaiju, I'm like, you're just eroding land. That's not cool.
Again,
either.
It's one of those, like, if you're doing this Godzilla riff, right? There was this phase where Godzilla went from being this horrifying monster, this atomic bomb metaphor,
right,
to like Godzilla and Gamera became like Gamera's like friend of the children, right? That's what the Koreans called him. So what if it's one of those Korea needs her to fight other monsters, but she's too fucking drunk and she keeps blowing it? Something like that even adds something. When all of a sudden you say who she's really fighting is another small town drunk who just so rapidly is pumped to beat up women and commit genocide, it kind of just becomes so cheesy. And Sudeikis almost looks like he starts wearing eyeliner and darker clothes.
Stop.
Where you're just like, it's almost so fucking insanely stupid.
Yeah.
That I can't help but be uninvested, right? Because, again, the moral of this story is supposed to be a party girl refinding a life on her own, right? Supporting herself and deciding what is of value.
Yeah.
Is that the movie I'm watching?
Well,
does the monster metaphor have anything to do with that? And then Sudeikis all of a sudden becomes the Garth Brooks alter ego Chris Gaines.
I think, yeah.
And he fistfights women a bunch, and I was like, this is insane.
I think that's the problem, is the metaphor. The metaphor that's the genre bend gets lost, like, I don't know, as soon as you start addressing the actual mechanics, like we were talking about, of making it, the genre bend is like just this like side story, essentially. The movie becomes, it should be like, again, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't gel at the end. It starts as a really funny experience and a fun bit, but it does not last. And it's like sort of this one note that doesn't quite work through the movie.
Yeah, I mean, for over half the movie,
for
it's
being
cooking,
a movie
and
filled with great performances.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. And then it gets consumed by this weird let's hit women and wear eyeliner storyline. And then just too much of the mechanics of this kaiju thing make no fucking sense. Like, I guess God is a white American. She's just like, oh, you're sad about your project? Dead Koreans! And you're like, Jesus Christ.
Good Lord, God.
Yeah. Do they have some kind of religious God that can get some retaliation for them? Like, this is not acceptable. It is. It's one of those, this is the gamble you make. When you want people to pay attention to your sad New York girl goes back to a small town story, a story that you're a screenwriter, I'm a screenwriter, a lot of us have written this story that's a little autobiographical, but like enhanced to be like an indie movie. We all have that script, right? We wanted to tell our story, right? A lot of us, that's where we start. You add the sci-fi in so that I want to watch it.
Right.
When I get there, all I got was the stuff I didn't want, and then the stuff I did want kind of fucking bogged me down. And again, someone in your movie should be someone I root for. I'm not stoked at the end when the guy who watches his fuck buddy get beat up is smiling for her in the bar. That guy can get killed by the kaiju the exact same. If you watch someone who's nice enough to mouth up your dick, get beat up, you're a scumbag. Like, he's almost as bad. He's not as bad as the guy who's physically pummeling the woman and stomping around her fucking passing out body as we hear the screams and twisting metal of Korean trauma. That guy's worse, but he's not far. And then Tim Blake Nelson's just there doing drugs, and he just disappears for the end of the movie. You're like, God damn it, the one guy I liked. It's an odd bag of a film. But again, it's solid 3 out of 5. It's a very solid movie.
Solid 3 out of 5.
Again, it reminds me of the like argument you hear a lot on like Ancient Aliens, right? Where they talk about how precise the pyramids are and how that had to be done with like futuristic alien technology, because if those people laid the foundations of that pyramid wrong, right, even a little bit, by the top it'd be all wonky and fucked up, and it wouldn't look like the pyramids do now. They would have fallen down. And I was like, that's what this movie feels like. Right. It's a pretty cool thing that was just built on some shaky-ass decisions, so that by the end of the third act, you're like, oh boy, that's going to collapse and kill someone. That's what it feels like. Alex,
Fair.
what's the most messed up moment in Colossal?
Ooh, you know what? It's so they're beating each other up, and she falls to the ground, and then he like stomps through the playground in front of her. And again, it's horrible. By the way, it's murder. It's not good, but him stomping and then like the intercut with the sound of screams. So cool. Like,
it's
so
underlaid with the audio of screeching cars, building breaking, Koreans screaming as they're murdered.
And it's just a guy stomping through a playground. It's just, it's very fucked up.
There's two lines,
but also
right? Here's
really
a woman
well
who just got fucking rocked and pummeled by a guy she thought was her friend. Mm-hmm. He's stomping through the playground. On the other side, there's just hundreds of Koreans being murdered. It's a devastating image, right? Anne Hathaway becomes the face screaming in agony for all the Koreans, even though she's also killed a bunch of Koreans in the movie. That's a hard one to beat. If I had to say the other one that's kind of shocking is she falls down drunk trying to dance and showboat for her friends, passes out drunk and wakes up the next day to the big screen TV. She wakes up and she's like in front of the TV, so it looks like she's in the footage.
Oh, yeah.
And Jason Sudeikis comes in nonchalant. She's like, how many people did I kill? How many? And he's like, we'll talk about it calmly. How many people did I kill? And he's like, not that many. She killed hundreds of people. When she fell down drunk trying to just prove to these guys she was the monster.
Yeah.
And she was, right? So those are probably the two moments that really stick out. Besides the eyeliner and the woman pummeling, which is just not great decisions, period. That always is a messed up thing to me. Don't do that, guys.
Not great.
Not great. That's it for Colossal. I hope you guys enjoyed the movie more than we did. Again, I actually did enjoy the movie.
I still dug it. It's just, it's got, like anything else. It's got things that I don't like.
It's got a little warts, right? It's like Gloria, right? You love things about her, but she also makes a lot of bad choices. Yeah. That's what this movie is. So we hope you guys enjoyed it. We have more April a twist movies coming for you. So stay tuned. I'm trying to think off the top of my head what our other twist movies are. Last Night in Soho. That's coming up next, I believe.
Cannot wait.
Make sure you go to the Messed Up Movies Podcast Patreon. Support the show. Join the community. Lots of great stuff over there. Black Mirror miniseries in full swing right now. Would love to have you guys over there. Go to MisfitParade.com. Keep track of our production. Go to Misfit Parade YouTube. Subscribe over there. 5-star ratings and reviews. More than anything, guys, please let your friends know what we're doing. It would mean the world to us. That's it. We'll see you guys next time.